All right, let's dive straight into this explainer by addressing the massive elephant in the room for Connecticut's property owners right now. Look, we're dealing with a market that is fundamentally stuck. For a ton of people out there, traditional real estate models just aren't offering a viable way out anymore. So today, we're going to explore a really fascinating model from Algonquian real estate that completely flips the script on how landlords can transition out of their portfolios.
Here's our roadmap for this explainer. We'll start with the Connecticut housing gridlock, move into creative exits for landlords, look at de-risking with technology, break down the MAO engine advantage, and finish up with how to create a seamless, profitable transition.
Section 1, the Connecticut housing gridlock. Now, how do you cash out when the market is locked in? Literally, this is the exact question keeping retiring Connecticut landlords up at night as they look at their aging portfolios. You know the drill. Many of these property owners have held these assets for decades. They are completely burned out by the property management stress, the midnight calls about a busted boiler, the endless upkeep, the headache of chasing down rent checks. They are ready to cash out and just enjoy retirement. But right now, doing that is incredibly difficult. And why is that? Well, to put this into perspective, the national housing market is facing a staggering 50-year supply imbalance. And this crisis isn't just a national talking point. It is acutely felt right here in local Connecticut markets, places like Waterbury, Hartford, and New Haven. We've got this massive shortage of desirable move-in-ready workforce housing, yet simultaneously, there are plenty of aging properties just sitting there, undermanaged. So here's the catch-22. You have all these landlords who desperately want to transition out, but everyday buyers simply cannot afford the traditional bank loans to buy them out. Because with interest rates as high as they are, the math just doesn't work for a normal buyer to purchase an aging three-family property, especially one that needs heavy, expensive repairs. This creates what's known as a market lock-in. Basically, sellers can't sell and buyers can't buy. Section 2, creative exits for landlords. This gridlock is exactly why we need to look beyond the traditional bank. Enter Algonquian Real Estate, a nimble, Connecticut-based firm founded in February 2026 by Gregory Jones. They were built specifically to target these small multifamily assets, and they do it without relying on the restrictive Wall Street capital caps that always seem to slow down massive institutional buyers. They have this amazing Main Street edge, right? They move with speed, flexibility, and a really deep understanding of the local markets. So, to bypass all this high-rate gridlock, Algonquian uses incredibly creative structures, like seller financing. Think of it like this. The property owner basically acts as the bank. Instead of Algonquian getting a sky-high interest loan from a traditional bank just to pay the seller a lump sum, the seller carries the note. This drastically reduces the upfront capital needed to actually close the deal. And, maybe more importantly for the retiring landlord, it provides a steady, recurring income stream without a single property management headache. And that perfectly sets up another absolute game changer outlined in our sources, the subject to acquisition. In this scenario, the buyer takes over the property subject to the existing mortgage. So, if a landlord locked in a beautiful low interest rate years ago, Algonquian actually keeps that low rate debt in place. It's brilliant. It lets sellers exit smoothly while maximizing capital efficiency so the property can actually get revitalized. When you put a traditional sale right up against an Algonquian creative exit, the contrast is pretty wild. With the traditional route, you're looking at massive bank delays, deal-killing interest rates, and huge closing costs. The creative exit, on the other hand, gives you speed, highly flexible terms that can actually be tailored to retirement needs, and that reliable recurring income without the stress. It's a vastly superior option. Section 3, de-risking with technology. Now, I know exactly what you might be thinking. Nobody wants to do seller financing with a new LLC. And hey, that is a completely valid fear. Why on earth would a seasoned property owner trust their retirement nest egg to a newly formed company? When you tell a retiring landlord in Waterbury that you want them to act as the bank, their very first thought is going to be, well, what if you default? What if you have no idea what you're doing? Well, Algonquian actually solves this trust gap by positioning itself not just as a real estate company, but as a robust technology platform that de-risks the entire process from day one. They're completely shifting the dynamic away from some mom-and-pop investor asking for a favor. Instead, they present as a highly professional, institutional-grade, tech-enabled operator with a serious, data-backed business proposal. To do this, they've built out this incredible internal suite of proprietary tools known as the ARE Tech ecosystem. We're talking about a deal intake system to meticulously track property information, a pipeline CRM for seamless workflow monitoring, and an offer generator for automated legal documents. By automating this pipeline, they aren't just making their own lives easier, they are actively proving to a hesitant seller that they operate with rigorous, trackable institutional standards. Section 4, the MAO Engine Advantage. Let's move to the absolute crown jewel of this tech ecosystem, the MAO, or Maximum Allowable Offer Engine. This proprietary software basically modernizes and automates all the intense financial math of a deal. It calculates exactly how much Algonquian can pay for a property while ensuring there is plenty of cash flow to cover renovations, operating expenses, and, most crucially, the seller's monthly note. The workflow here is just super streamlined. Step 1, capture the property data in the deal intake. Step 2, the MAO engine kicks in and performs some incredibly deep financial modeling. And Step 3, it generates a flawless, automated, lender-ready financial package. This right here is critical. Walking into a mom-and-pop seller's living room with a dense, bank-level financial package is exactly how you overcome their fear. You're not guessing, you're proving the math. And this is the exact moment where the technology literally solves the human problem. When a seller sees that their retirement note is backed by incredibly conservative automated math, that risky new LLC stigma drops completely. They immediately realize they are dealing with a tech-forward enterprise. This data-backed reassurance transforms what feels like a massive risk into a highly professional, secure transaction. Section 5, a seamless, profitable transition. Ultimately, all of this tech and strategy feeds into their RESID framework, which is just a massive win-win for everyone involved. It overcomes the high-rate market lock-in, it turns empty or distressed structures back into highly desirable housing, and it empowers capital-efficient community revitalization. But most importantly for the seller, it gives retiring landlords recurring income and officially ends their property management stress. So it really leaves you with one big question. Is your property ready for its next chapter? Honestly, if the math is completely guaranteed and the tech is doing all the heavy lifting, why stay locked into a stressful property management life? For Connecticut landlords sitting on aging assets, tech-driven models like this might just be the exact exit strategy you've been waiting for.